The basics of armored vehicles and their use in protective services, presented by the International Security Driver Association. Since the Omar García Harfuch Ambush that occurred in June of 2020, we, the ISDA, have received questions concerning the use of armored vehicles in protective services. The following presentation is in two parts. For the first part, I'll give you some perspective on how we track the use of armored vehicles in the industry, and I'll share some of the 2019 Executive Vehicle and Secure Transportation Survey results, and in particular, where it pertains to armored vehicles. The second part of the presentation, I'll provide a basic guide, things to look for when it comes to renting or owning armored vehicles. A quick explanation of the ISDA survey. The surveys have been conducted biannually since 2013. The survey aims to examine trends and collect data to develop a broader perspective on the secure transportation profession. Practitioners who participated in the survey represent the corporate, high net worth, and private security communities. 37% of the participants are from the corporate community, 23% are from private security, and 21% are from high net worth. The participants have an average of 15 years of experience. Data excerpt from the 2019 survey results. 63% of those who took part in the survey do not use an armored vehicle. The use of armored vehicles has fluctuated from 15.5% in 2013 to 22.9% in 2015 and 14.1% in 2017. In 2019, the number of participants using armored vehicles jumped to 36%. That is more than double the amount reported in the last survey, 2017, and 13% from the highest usage in 2015. The level of armor can be an indication of the type of risk the vehicle moves through. The higher the level of armor, the higher the perceived risk. The survey indicated that of the 37% who use armored vehicles, 29.7% are driving level B4 vehicles, which are used mostly in a low to medium risk environment. Level B5 vehicles are used by 27.5% of participants who used armored vehicles. Level B6 is 28.6%, and the highest level, B7, was used by the remaining 14.3%. As a side note, there still seems to be confusion concerning armored levels and the use of the word bulletproof. No vehicle is bulletproof, and vehicles marketed as such should be used with caution. Renting armored vehicles. In the 2019 survey, 26% of the participants rented armored vehicles. Although this number has been consistent over the years, we feel that it is a significant metric. We urge caution when renting armored vehicles. Ensure you're getting what you pay for. The ISDA members and associates relate to us the problems they face when attempting to rent armored vehicles. These are just a few. The "got a guy" syndrome. The person that is renting the vehicle does not own the vehicle. He'll be renting it from the person that owns the vehicle. There have been occasions where the same vehicle was offered for rent from 3 different people, with an increase in cost approaching 300% from the offer made by the person that owned the vehicle. The vehicle delivered was not what was advertised. The vehicle was not the same model, such as an Escalade versus the promised Suburban, not the level of armored contracted for, not the year and model advertised, or maybe the interior was well worn. Mechanical problems, worn tires, delaminated windshield, brakes that almost work, loose steering, strains to accelerate, and the doors that are hanging from the hinges. Keep in mind that there is very little that is old as an old armored vehicle. The lifespan of an armored vehicle is not the same as an unarmored vehicle. An armored SUV that is 5 years old can be a problem. This makes for an unhappy principal. Here are some simple questions to ask. Make and model, level of armor, the cost, the year, the miles, the armor of manufacturer, the condition, and supply a photo. We strongly suggest that you drive the vehicle before the principal gets in it. Take it for a test drive, check the brakes, acceleration, steering. Ensure there is little or no distortion in the windshield. Part 2 of the presentation, Armored Vehicle Basics. This is not meant to be the definitive guide to purchasing an armored vehicle. It is more to supply basic knowledge that can assist in the decision-making process. First, the purpose of an armored vehicle is to absorb the initial burst of fire and maintain the capability to drive out of the ambush, protect the occupants from the threat, maintain some level of performance, and be able to function in hostile environments. All vehicles, including armored vehicles, have characteristics that define their performance. An armored vehicle is a trade-off between performance and protection. Simply, the higher the level of protection, the less performance. At best, it is difficult to build an armored vehicle that has a high defeat capability, keeps its performance characteristics intact, and has reasonable longevity. Bullet-resistant glass means only that it is bullet-resistant, not bulletproof. An armored car must be capable of absorbing the initial burst of fire and have the capability to drive away from the attack. Experience shows that if the car is armored, the adversary will concentrate their fire on the glass in short bursts of rounds at a single location. The worst possible scenario for any vehicle is to stop in the kill zone. That includes armored vehicles. If the vehicle is immobilized, the attackers have control over the movement of the target, and that is not a good thing. If the vehicle stops, you lose. Things to consider in the decision-making process. Determine the threat. Ensure that the armor can defeat the threat. This requires a threat assessment. We suggest that you get an independent assessment and do not rely on the armored vehicle manufacturer. Vehicle performance. Dynamics, maneuverability. All a vehicle can do is go, stop, and a combinations of stop and turn and go and turn. We suggest you compare the performance number before and after armoring. In day-to-day operation and in emergency situation, if the vehicle is located in a hostile environment and needs maintenance, ensure you have the availability of a backup vehicle. Performance over an extended period of time. Vehicle performance will degrade over a shorter period of time. Be aware. Vehicle selection. A vehicle that blends into the environment can accept the armor's additional weight. Load capacity. Payload is the combined maximum allowable weight of cargo, occupants, and optional equipment that the vehicle is designed to carry. Payload is an indication how much armor the vehicle can accept. A vehicle that significantly exceeds its payload capacity will be hard to maneuver, stop, and accelerate. An excessive payload also decreases the car's life expectancy and makes it more susceptible to tire blowouts. Manufacturing process. Seams and gaps are a result of the manufacturing process. They are also one of the most critical aspects of the manufacturing process. A seam is created when two pieces of armor are placed end-to-end to cover a section of the vehicle. This seam is vulnerable to the kinetic energy of the bullet. A round that finds a seam will displace the armor and penetrate the vehicle. Notice in the picture that the rounds were located at the top of the back window. In this scenario, a round did penetrate and killed the principal. Optics. Armored windshields can cause distortion at the points of curvature, which makes it difficult to look left or right. The higher the level of protection, the greater the distortion can be, which can limit nighttime visibility and cause headaches and in some cases nausea. Before purchasing an armored vehicle, ensure you test drive it in the evening. What may not appear distorted in the daytime can sometimes look quite different in the evening. Armored level, certified ballistic and explosive resistance. Ballistic standards indicate the type of round the vehicle or material will stop and how many rounds it can withstand. There can be confusion concerning the various ballistic standards, the levels of armor, and what they can and cannot do. Each level indicates the protection provided for, the type of weapon, the caliber of round, the distance the round was shot from, the number of rounds fired within a given area. The problem is that the standards are not the same. For instance, the ballistic capability of level 2 armor for one standard may not be the same ballistic capability of level 2 in another standard. Be sure to ask the provider, what caliber rounds does the armor stop? From what distance will they stop the round? And how many rounds will it stop? And in what area of the vehicle will they stop them? We strongly suggest that before considering the purchase of an armored vehicle, educate yourself on ballistic standards and armored defeat levels. Google ballistic standards and you will get an abundance of information. Other things to consider. Spare parts. The simple fact is that parts, especially brakes and hoses, wear out faster on a security vehicle than on a normal vehicle. Ask the provider what, if any, spare parts are offered. Tires. Other than the armor, tires are the most important part of an armored vehicle. History shows that most problems with armored vehicles start with the tires, especially the front tires, being unable to handle the vehicle's additional weight from the windshield. The armorer must determine the weight on each tire. Given the cost of the armored vehicle, this is not asking for much. Run flats. Run flats provide the ability to drive for miles on a flat tire. The problem is that they are not easy to install or remove. Most often, they come with a special piece of equipment that makes that task easier. Miscellaneous. Driving 10,000 miles in a non-armored vehicle is not the same as driving 10,000 miles in an armored vehicle. The armor's additional weight puts a strain on the vehicle's systems, brakes, cooling, and transmission, shortening the vehicle's maintenance cycle. Ensure that the vehicle's active safety systems are functional. ABS, traction control, tire pressure monitoring system, for example. Thank you for watching the International Security Driver Association's presentation on the topic of armored vehicles. If you're interested in learning more on this topic, please consider becoming a member of the ISDA. For more information on the association and the benefits we provide our members, please visit our website, isdacenter.org. And if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel.